Okay, today we're going to be talking about how to flight your wedges. If you want to hit a ball kind of particularly low, especially with like a wedge or a higher lofted club, how would you do that? Especially like if you're going into the wind, or if basically you just want to kind of control that flight coming into the green. How would you do that? Now I want to kind of show you a little bit of what I used to think was that answer, and this is kind of like what I used to do when I was kind of an up and coming teacher, and this is what I used to do, and it was not a very successful style of doing it. But I want to share with you how I did it. So what I used to do, especially when I first became an instructor, was that I kind of like fell in love with the idea of flat left wrist. That's kind of like pretty much how every single lesson went for a long time. I was always trying to tell people to get shaft lean, trying to get the left wrist pretty flat. But from teaching that all the time, I got really, really good at kind of leaning the shaft forward coming through the ball. So what I would do when I really had to hit the ball really low is I would actually, for whatever reason, I would actually really deal off the club, try to put my hands way out in front when I go to hit the ball. And for whatever reason, I also swung a lot faster. So I would kind of get a little bit, kind of play the ball a little bit further back in my stance. I'd really throw my hands forward, and then I'd really try to rotate through as hard as I can to hit this ball, like, I guess, a really low, hard shot. Well, today, what I would suggest doing instead, I still think having the hands forward is important. I don't think you have to do it as excessively. But the other problem is the speed that I used to bring into the shot prior to what I do now, because the problem with speed is speed creates spin. So the two things that really kind of get the ball to go way up in the air that we're trying to prevent doing when we're trying to flight down a wedge or something like that, one is we're trying to get less loft on the club, which was achieved by this, but also we want less speed because the speed creates so much backspin and makes the ball balloon up into the air. So what I would suggest now is that if I had, let's just say I had kind of like 100-yard shot into the green, which is usually kind of like a full swing lob wedge for me. If I did like a full swing lob wedge, that would usually land about 100 yards for me. What I do now is I go down to like my 52 or even my 46-degree wedge. So I have Vokey wedges here, and I'll kind of come in a little closer just so you can see. So this is my 46-degree wedge here. So I'll take this club, which kind of full swing tends to go about 140 yards, but to hit this 100 yards, what I do is I'll play the ball a little bit further back in my stance just to kind of get that loft to go even lower than the 46. But then I'll only take about a half backswing here. So I'll play the ball a little further back in my stance. I'll take a little half backswing, and then I'll follow through completely. Instead of doing what I used to do, kind of holding it off and trying to keep the left wrist as flat as I can coming through, I'm going to suggest actually go ahead and let yourself release the club coming through the ball and allow the delofting of the club to happen just naturally from the fact that it's a lower lofted club already, and then also the fact that you're playing the ball further back in your stance. So it makes the process a lot simpler, so you don't have to do some weird manipulation coming through the ball, and you just go ahead and play that ball a little further back in the stance, and then just take kind of a normal swing, although with not that big of a backswing. So more of kind of like a half backswing, come all the way through, and you'll see that ball flight in kind of low. And especially even with if you have a really good pitching wedge, like my 46-degree Titleist Vokey, you'll have a lot of nip and bite on it already. It'll kind of land and it'll bite pretty quickly. So definitely something to try the next time you're trying to flight a wedge coming into a green. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and go down to the red subscribe button down at the bottom of this video and click on subscribe. And then right next to it, there's a bell button. If you click on that bell button, go up to all, it'll give you notifications for all my future videos that I have coming out. Also, if you like today's video, please go ahead and click on that thumbs up like button. That really, really helps out my channel. Also, if you know anybody that could benefit from today's video, please go ahead and share the link with them so that they can see this video as well. Lastly, if you have any questions about questions or comments on today's video, please go ahead and put it down into the comments section. I try to read all of them and give a reply to all of them. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I really, really hope this helps your game.